I was Muslim and Islam is the perfect true religion. So I looked at Christians as, oh, these people, their religion is all wrong. How could they believe that Jesus is the Son of God? This is blasphemy. And I remembered thinking, I will not read this book or watch this movie or things like that because it is made by Christians. And I felt the same way about people from the Hindu religion, that, well, they are completely wrong in their religion, so we are the ones who have the true path to peace and the afterlife through Allah, through Islam. And so I felt superior to all these other people who are not Muslim. And while I didn't personally have this feeling, because I think my family, they raised me to respect all people equally, I could see that the attitude of Muslims, Arab Muslims, towards non-Arab Muslims, so some from Indonesia, some from Malaysia, you had them from all over the world in Dubai. There's this feeling of superiority that many Arab Muslims had because, well, we speak Arabic. And so we are closer to the Quran. We are closer to the words that God, Allah, revealed in the Quran. And that's one of those things that when the time came for me to go to university, I didn't really want to continue living in Dubai, even though it was my home. I didn't feel a connection there. And so the decision was made by my parents: you will go to Canada. And I moved there when I was 17 for university. And this is where my journey towards leaving Islam really began. And I can continue now, or should we pause for you to translate?
Yeah, I'll just tell the summary. तो भाई ये वहां पे देख रहे थे, मतलब ये मानते थे कि इस्लाम एकदम परफेक्ट रिलीजन है, इस्लाम मेक सेंस, और ये क्रिश्चियंस के बारे में इनका ख्याल था कि यार ये क्या पागलपन है कि ये ईसा को अल्लाह का बेटा मान रहे हैं। सेम ख्यालात इनके हिंदूज के लिए भी थे, जो कि आमतौर पे सारे मुसलमानों के होते हैं। ये अपना कभी भी नहीं देखते, दूसरे के रिलीजन में ये अपना दिमाग बहुत चलाते हैं। तो वहां पे इनका भी अलीम साहब का भी दिमाग चल रहा था कि ये क्रिश्चियन जो है ये मतलब इलॉजिकल है, हिंदूस इलॉजिकल है। तो ये इनका जहन ऐसा हो गया था कि यार इनकी मैं किताबें नहीं पढ़ूंगा, मूवीज जो बनी हुई है वो मैं नहीं देखूंगा, क्योंकि ये सब क्रिश्चियनों की बनाई हुई है। मतलब इनका जहन इतना ज्यादा दूसरे लोगों के लिए बंद हो चुका था कि ये एक तरीके का समझिए एक मेंटल हेट ही इसको कहा जाएगा। अच्छा, इसके बावजूद लेकिन जो मेन चीज इसको हिट कर रही थी, इनको हिट कर रही थी, वो ये थी कि ये जो यहाँ के जो अरब है वो बाकी मुसलमानों को एक जैसा क्यों नहीं समझते, उनको नीचा क्यों समझते हैं। इंडोनेशिया के मुसलमानों को, पाकिस्तानी मुसलमानों को, क्योंकि दुबई में हर जगह के मुसलमान आके काम करते हैं। तो जब ये यूनिवर्सिटी तक पहुंच रहे थे, क्योंकि घर पे इनके इस तरीके से नहीं सिखाया जा रहा था और ये चीज सहन नहीं कर पा रहे थे, तो इन्होंने ये कहा कि यार मैं यहाँ पे नहीं रहूंगा। तो इनके घर वालों ने फिर और इन्होंने मिलकर फैसला किया कि भाई यूनिवर्सिटी के लिए इनको कनाडा भेजा जाए। और इस्लाम के छोड़ने की इनकी जर्नी यहीं से शुरू होती है जब वो कनाडा के लिए मूव होते हैं। यस अली, प्लीज गो।
Thank you. So, like many people like me, before me and after me, we come to Canada because we want a better education. We want to try and have a better life, a more successful career. And so this is the reason why my family sent me to Canada. But here's the other thing that happened when I came to Canada. For the first time in my life, really, here I was as an adult, and almost an adult. Maybe 17 is not an adult. But I was, for the first time. Yeah, that's a good point.
you know that in Islam, if you start growing your pubic hair, I mean, once the pubic hair starts growing, you are already an adult. So Islamically, you are adult.
Islamically, I'm adult. Yes, that's a good point. But let's say legally, by the legal definition of many countries, I was finally an adult alone, and I was not in a Muslim majority country. And so what happened was I was exposed to different culture, people of different religions who aren't living within the confines of a Muslim world. So meeting Christians and again, meeting Hindus, Buddhists, Jewish people, and seeing all these people, they have many things in common with me. We like the same things. We want the same things from life. And what happened next was I think because I was so young when I left home and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my life, I became very depressed. And I had what you could call like a crisis. And I didn't know what to do with my life. And one of the things that confused me was, why do I have all these feelings of doubt and unhappiness when Islam supposedly gives you all the answers? Islam tells you why you were created, to worship God, to worship Allah, and it tells you that this life is temporary and it is a test for you to go to al-akhirah, the afterlife, and to be with Allah in paradise. So what else do you need in terms of life guidance? Just do what Allah tells you to do, and then you will get the reward. And for some reason, this did not satisfy me because I felt like, why? This is the question that defined my life at that point. Why do I have to worship Allah? Why do I have to do what He says to go into the afterlife, the paradise? Because Allah says so. And so I started thinking about how Islam does not really give you answers. Why do we all exist? Because Allah created us. Why? Because Allah created us. So there's, if you can understand what I'm saying, Sahil, there's a
Yes,
dead
yes.
end. There's a stop where you just have to say, Allah, Allah, Allah.
So the
I
question
believe in
that
Allah.
you were trying to ask and you were not getting answer, and the same repeated answer is that, at this point, why Allah created human being. So they told you, or
Why?
the Muslim scholars, they say because He wanted to test you and you have been created to worship Him. But again, the question is, why Allah wanted to create us, why He wanted to take the test, why He wanted people, why He wants from creation that He should worship Him alone. I mean, what is the benefit of this so-called God to get that happiness by letting people worship Him? So this is the basic question which no Muslim can answer.
I'm still
And
waiting
that
for
is
the
the dead
answer.
end. And that is the dead end you're talking about, that at
This
the
is the
end,
dead end.
because He wanted us to worship Him.
And here's the dangerous question to ask to a Muslim. It would be, does Allah need us to worship Him? Because
They'll
then
say no.
can you say God? But then why is He doing? Is it for fun? He's bored. see, this is the problem with these kinds of things.
You are very much like me. You are very much like me. I have asked this question to so many Muslims, and
You will never
believe
get an
me,
answer.
till date, I have not received any convincing or logical answer that why Allah created us. I mean,
Yeah.
the purpose of our life, okay, understood. The purpose of our life is to worship Allah. But what was the purpose of Allah in creating us? So that answer you will never get from any Muslim.
No.
So
Maybe
can I just summarize
I
the
will just
clarification?
add one thing because it
Yeah.
fits in with this topic. Maybe you and
Yes.
I are similar in this way, Sahil, but for me, I like to know why I am doing things. So to give an analogy, maybe you can share this with people. They will
Please.
understand. It's when the parents tell you, go do this, or we're going there, I would ask why. And what do some parents say? Because I said so. They don't give you the reason. They say, because I am your parent and I said so. And this is what Allah does. He is the ultimate.
That is a narcissistic that is a
Yes.
narcissistic disorder, actually.
Because
I'm telling you have to do.
Yes, exactly. And Allah is the ultimate version of this. He's telling all of us what to do, but won't say why. So I need to know the reasons why, and I realize that Islam does not give those reasons. So please go ahead.
Wow. अच्छा, तो शॉर्ट में जल्दी जल्दी बताता हूं मैं कि ये जब कनाडा गए तो बहुत यंग थे, 17 साल के थे, और बहुत ज्यादा मैच्योर भी नहीं होता है 17 साल में इंसान, क्योंकि रसूलुल्लाह को खुद 40 साल लगे थे, और हमारे दोस्त अहबाब ने कहा था कि वो ट्रेनिंग उनकी हो रही थी 40 साल तक। उनको समझ में नहीं आता कि भाई रिसालत का काम दे रहा हूं, वो बखूबी निभाएगा या नहीं निभाएगा, अल्लाह को भी ये पता नहीं था, तो उन्होंने 40 साल डिले कर दिया था नबूवत देने का। बट एनीवेज 17 साल इनका जो है वो उम्र थी, और वहां पे अब ये एक इस्लामिक कन्फाइनमेंट से निकल के एक ऐसी जगह पे आ गए थे जहां पे एक अपॉर्चुनिटी थी पढ़ने की, लाइफ में आगे बढ़ने की। अच्छा, वहां पे ये क्रिश्चियंस के साथ भी, यानी मल्टी कल्चर जो होता है, बुद्धिस्ट इनको मिल रहे हैं, क्रिश्चियंस मिल रहे हैं, हिंदूस इनको मिल रहे हैं। अच्छा, इसके बाद क्या होता है, ये इनके जहन में सवालात आना शुरू होते हैं, और ये एक ऐसा स्टेज आ जाता है जहां पे एक इंसान कह सकता है कि यार मैं अब डिप्रेशन में आ जाऊंगा अगर मुझे इस बात का जवाब नहीं मिला। लेकिन फिर इनके दिमाग में ये चलता है कि यार इस्लाम तो हर चीज का जवाब देता है, तो मुझे डिप्रेशन में क्यों आना है? इस्लाम तो जवाब देता है ना कि हम क्यों पैदा किए गए, इस्लाम तो जवाब देता है कि हमारा मकसद क्या है। तो इनको जो इस्लाम जो आंसर दे रहा था कि भाई हमारे जीने का मकसद क्या है, हमें क्यों इस दुनिया में भेजा गया, वो इनको कन्विंसिंग नहीं लग रहा था। चलो, कि भाई हमें अल्लाह ने इबादत के लिए पैदा किया है, तो इनका सवाल ये आ रहा था कि अल्लाह इबादत क्यों करवाना चाह रहा है? सेम सवाल जो हम भी यहाँ पे करते हैं। तो मतलब जिसका दिमाग चलेगा वो इस तरीके के मुसलमान, जो जिसका दिमाग चलेगा उसका इस तरीके के सवालात आना जो है वो 100% कंफर्म है। तो अलीम साहब को भी यही सवाल आ रहा था कि क्यों क्यों अल्लाह इबादत करवाना चाह रहा है, क्या उसको मिल जाएगा? लेकिन इनको कोई जवाब ही नहीं मिल रहा था। तो इनको भी ऐसी ही फीलिंग आई कि ये जो इस्लाम वाला अल्लाह है, जैसे मिसाल के तौर पे इन्होंने एक माँ बच्चे का एग्जाम्पल दिया कि यार बच्चा, माँ जो है या पेरेंट जो है वो बच्चे को कह देते ये कर, अब बच्चा पूछता है कि क्यों, तो बाप बोलता है कि मैंने बोल दिया कर दे। हालांकि एक अच्छा बाप जो होगा वो उसको बताएगा कि बेटा ये इस वजह से होना, ये इस वजह से मैं आपको कह रहा हूं कि ऐसा कर, इसमें तेरा ये बेनिफिट है, इसमें मेरा ये बेनिफिट है, इस तरीके की बात आएगी। लेकिन यहाँ पे इनको इस सवाल का कोई जवाब नहीं मिल रहा था कि क्यों अल्लाह हमारे से अपनी इबादत करवाना चाहता है। तो ये एक नार्सिसिस्टिक ट्रेड जो है इनको अल्लाह में नजर आई। आगे इनसे जानने की कोशिश करते हैं कि ये जब सवालात आ रहे थे फिर इसके बाद इनका नेक्स्ट जो चीजें हैं वो कैसा मामला होने लगा। यस अली,
Okay.
व्हाट हैपेंड नेक्स्ट?
What happened next was in the middle of my depression, what happened was I was questioning everything about my life. So why am I in Canada? I'm alone in a foreign country where I don't know if you've ever been here, Sahil, but the winters are very, very cold.
Yes, I
Even
have
right
heard, I have not been to there.
it is very, very cold. Even right now, I look out my window and it's very, very cold. I'm used to it now, but back then I was not very used to it, and I was not used to being alone. So I was questioning, why am I here? Why am I studying my subject in university, which did not interest me, to be honest, but I had to pick something. And of course, why am I Muslim? So I was asking all these big fundamental questions. And when I looked at Islam specifically, I opened the door to the possibility in my mind, what if Islam is not true? I saw for the first time in my life in Canada, there are people who are atheists, who do not believe in any God, and yet they are living life normally. And so I was thinking, if it's possible for them, maybe it is possible for me. And I started looking into the reasons why I believed in Islam. And again, to go back to our example from before, I realized it was because my family told me, because you are Muslim. My community told me, because you are Muslim and Islam is the truth. So I realized that this whole time I was believing in Islam because people always told me that this is the truth and this is what you are. I had no choice in the matter. And Sahil, the way I would describe it is, it's like you're under a magic spell, or maybe a better way of saying it is you are hypnotized. So the hypnotist tells you, okay, hypnotizes you, tells you there is a big pink elephant in the room with you. And so you believe that there is a pink elephant in the room. And this is what it felt like to me with Islam. I was hypnotized my whole childhood to believe, because if you think about it, it is kind of ridiculous in a way. There is this powerful Allah, God, who is watching you at all times, who is with you at all times. And there's, again, like I mentioned, the angels and the demons and the jinn. All of them are invisible. I can't see them at any point of time. And yet I believe they are all real, and I believe they were all with me. And then it sounds funny now, but when you believe it, you can't imagine that it's not true. You think the pink elephant is in the room with you. And once I switched my mentality to, what if Islam is not true? I think I just started to see how I am believing all these things for no good reason. Well, what is the good reason to believe that Islam is true? And I knew that Muslims would say, look at the Quran, it is perfection. or well, where did everything come from if there is no Allah? And for both things, I realize that these are not convincing reasons to believe in Islam. The Quran, how can we know for sure it came from Allah? We cannot know for sure. And when you think about the whole question of where did everything come from, I realize that just saying Allah is the answer is the same thing of saying, Allah is the answer because Allah is the answer, because there's no other option. But what if we can say, and this is what really opened my mind when I was learning the things that famous atheists were saying. So this is when I was discovering Richard Dawkins or Christopher Hitchens or Sam Harris. These are now very well-known names, and they were becoming popular just as I was leaving Islam. They would all say, what about the answer is, I don't know. And I thought this is amazing to confront the big questions in life, say, I don't know, but then try to lead your life anyway. And this is what led me to thinking, you know what? I don't want to be a Muslim anymore. This is something that people always told me I should be, and I don't see good reasons for it. But that led me to discover the things about Islam that Muslims don't like to talk about, which I'll talk about next. I'll just let you translate.
Yeah. तो भाई अलीम साहब कह रहे हैं, बड़ा जबरदस्त इनका जहन जो है ना, जब सवाल आते हैं ना तो सवाल बहुत सारे आते हैं, तो इसी तरीके से इनके जहन में भी सवाल आ रहे थे जिनका इनको तसल्ली बख्श जवाब नहीं मिल रहा था. तो ये कोशिश कर रहे थे, क्योंकि इनको जो जवाब मिल रहा था वो कन्विंसिंग नहीं था, तो ये कोशिश कर रहे थे यार कि ये लोग जो जवाब देते हैं वो बस ऐसी है कि बस अल्लाह ने कह दिया है तो मानो, अल्लाह ने कह दिया है मानो. अच्छा, अब ये बात इनको ऐसी लगी जैसे कि कोई मेरे ऊपर काला जादू या जादू किया हुआ है, या फिर बेटर टर्म जो इनको लगा कि जैसे कि मुझे जो है कोई हिप्नोटाइज किया हुआ है. यानी एक जो हिप्नोटाइज करने वाला होता है वो एक कमरे में कहता है कि भाई यहाँ पे एक पिंक एलिफेंट है, और वो इस तरीके से हिप्नोटाइज करता है कि आपको लगने लगता है भाई यहाँ पे पिंक एलिफेंट है. तो उसी तरीके से इनका पूरा बचपना इनको ऐसा लगता है कि इस्लाम को लेके इनको हिप्नोटाइज किया गया है कि भाई ये कौन अल्लाह है जो दिखता नहीं है, फिर जिन है जिसको देखा नहीं जा सकता, डीमन है, भूत है, और ये मतलब नहीं दिखने वाले अनसीन क्रिएचर्स है, ये हमको नजर नहीं आ रहे, लेकिन क्या है, अल्लाह ने कह दिया है मानो, इस्लाम कह रहा है मानो. यानी इस्लाम जो है वो आपको कहता है सिर्फ मानो, अगरचे आपके अकल में वो बैठे या नहीं बैठे, लेकिन आपको मानना है. क्यों? क्योंकि इस्लाम ने कह दिया. क्यों? क्योंकि अल्लाह ने कह दिया. तो यही चीज इनके जहन में जो है ना वो घूम रही थी, इनको कोई आंसर नहीं मिल रहा था. और कनाडा में जब ये थे और ये जो स्टेज चल रहा था, तो कुछ एथियस्ट हजरात है, इन्होंने नाम लिए, काफी फेमस है, रिचर्ड डॉकिन और क्रिस्टोफर, उसके बाद हिंचिन मिंचिन जो भी है, मेरे को तो हिचन, ओके, क्रिस्टोफर हिचन्स, और भी रिस्पेक्टेड जो एथियस्ट है, उनके बयानात इन्होंने सुने. और इन्होंने जब उनको सुना, जब सवाल करते हैं कि भाई ये दुनिया फिर ऑटोमेटिकली कैसे आ गई, ये दुनिया कैसे बन गई, तो ये जब सवाल आता है तो इसके जवाब अगर किसी को नहीं मालूम है तो मोमिन हजरत क्या कह देते, क्योंकि अल्लाह ने बनाई है. तो ये कन्विंस नहीं हो रहे थे इस जवाब से कि भाई, और अच्छा, इनके पास ये भी कोई मानने के लिए कोई एक कन्विंसिंग आंसर नहीं था कि जो कुरान है वो वाकई में अल्लाह की तरफ से, इसको भी साबित नहीं किया जा सकता. यानी इस्लाम की कोई भी चीज को साबित नहीं किया जा सकता, लेकिन सामने से एक दो सवाल इस तरीके से कर दो जिसका जवाब अगर किसी को नहीं मालूम है तो देखो ये अल्लाह ने बनाई है. तो इसको हमारे ओवैस इकबाल साहब जो है ना वो किसी को कोट करते हैं, मुझे इनका नाम नहीं याद है, कि ये गॉड ऑफ गैप्स इसको कहा जाता है, कि जहां पे कुछ चीज का सवाल ना हो वहां पे खुदा को इंक्लूड कर दो कि भाई अच्छा इसका आपके पास जवाब नहीं है ना, तो ये अल्लाह है, गॉड ऑफ गैप्स. तो इसी तरीके से इनको गॉड ऑफ गैप वाला एग्जाम्पल जो है या आर्ग्यूमेंट जो वो इनको दिया जा रहा था कि भाई अगर इस दुनिया को किसी ने नहीं बनाया तो ये ऑटोमेटिकली वजूद में कैसे आ गई. अच्छा, तो इसका जवाब नहीं है तो क्या है, अल्लाह ने बनाई. तो जब इन्होंने देखा कि ये जो लोग हैं जिनके इन्होंने अभी नाम लिए, उनके बयानात में उन्होंने कहा कि इसका हम सीधा आंसर ये क्यों नहीं कर सकते कि हमें नहीं मालूम, आई डोंट नो, वी डोंट नो, और एक जिंदगी क्यों नहीं गुजार सकते हम अच्छी से, इसमें अल्लाह को बीच में घुसेड़ने की क्या जरूरत है। तो ये चीज उनको बहुत ज्यादा कन्विंसिंग लगी कि भाई हम वी डोंट नो कहकर भी अपनी जिंदगी जो है वो अच्छे से गुजार सकते हैं। यस अलीम।
Thank you, Sahil. Yes, God of the gaps. That's exactly it. And I could not jump this gap. I could not do it. And again, like I said, once the hypnosis effect wore off, I started looking at many of the things that I had done and believed as a Muslim and that Islam taught. And I saw them, well, what if these things are just man-made? What if these are just things that people from 1400 years ago, 1400 years ago, said is the truth based on what they believed? And it becomes very horrible when you look at it that way. When I think about
I'm just interrupting you, Aleem. We know a great Islamic scholar. He just messaged me that if Aleem is so powerful, ex-Muslim, he knows Islam, is he ready to debate him? So I said, let him finish his story, and then you can join us and have debate with you. Are you ready to debate with him?
Well, it depends on debating what, but I'm happy to have a conversation at the very least.
Okay, but anyways, once you complete your story, we'll call that scholar. He is a great scholar. He is such a great scholar that no scholar can match him. So I'll introduce him, but let's wait and you will like him a lot. So let's complete our story first. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, so where was I? So when I was looking at all these things, like the treatment of women in Islam, how women are treated secondary to the men, and I thought, is this a good thing? When I thought about my own mother, who is a proud and accomplished woman, is she really someone who should be secondary to my father in our household? And in my household, my parents were equals, so my father was not in charge of the family the way Islam teaches, and I could see from my own family that women are just as capable as men in many different aspects of life. And beyond that, I was looking at the teachings of how if you don't believe in Allah, then you're a sinner, you're a disbeliever, and you deserve to be punished. And I thought, well, I've now met atheists, I've met people who are non-Muslims, and I can see they are good people, they care about others. How could someone punish those people just because they don't happen to believe to believe in you? It seems very cruel. It's very sadistic. And it's interesting how Muslims behave. So I learned a lot about the Prophet Muhammad and all about his life. And for example, I knew that he married, one of his wives was Aisha. Of course, the thing they don't tell you, they didn't teach me when I was a kid in school, was that he married her at 6 years old and he consummated the marriage when she was 9 years old. So that really also contributed to shattering my perception of the Prophet Muhammad, because many Muslims believe he's the ideal template for everyone to follow. But I could see today even, I know that there are Muslims who would marry a 9-year-old.
He is uswatun hasana.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah. So many Muslims would, I know that there are Muslims who would do this today, marry a child, but there are many Muslims who wouldn't do it. So what changed? Did Islam change? Islam cannot change. It is the perfect religion. It is society, human beings that changed, but because we believe Islam is the truth and Muhammad is the, like you said, the perfect example that we should all follow, we have to somehow defend or rationalize a grown man in his 50s or however old he was marrying a child and having sex with a child. And this is just one of many examples. There were other things I learned about, the massacres that happened with the first Muslims and how the Muslims fought and killed each other. And when you take away that Islam is true, then you realize these are just tribes of people murdering each other for power and just doing whatever they want to do to maintain that power. And that's when I would say the hypnosis effect was completely gone, when I learned all these other things about Islam and realized how much I would call it trauma, to be honest. I am fortunate that I was never beaten, I was never abused because of Islam physically. But emotionally, I think it is abuse to teach your children that you're going to go to hell unless you follow Allah, and then all the people who are non-believers, they will go to hell. That you will go to hell possibly for having sex outside of marriage, which I realized, why is that such a bad thing? I can see how it can lead to problems, maybe in some scenarios, but to say as a blanket rule, no, it is forbidden and you will go to hell. What kind of society runs this way, where you threaten everyone with hell for eternity, possibly? And so when I saw all these things, I thought, even though I no longer believe Islam is true, I don't want to even practice it anymore as a way to live my life. I didn't want anything to do with Islam anymore.
So what was the age when you got this realization that, this is enough and, I can no more practice Islam?
Around 18 years old. So 1 year after I left, 1 year after I moved to Canada.
Oh, that's so good, actually, that, you understood the reality when you were just 18.
You know what it was?
Happy for this.
Well, I am happy in a way, but also sad that I spent much of my teenage years being very sad and feeling guilty and afraid of hell. But it's in the past, so there is nothing I can do now. But this is one of the reasons.
Aleem, just imagine you are sad, you wasted 18 years. Just imagine our condition. It took us more than 30 years to understand that, we were believing in something which is not true. And it's not only about, being true. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of efforts. It's a waste of energy that you go to mosque for 5 times, or you offer prayer 5 times. Even if you're working somewhere, you take the breaks and go for the salah. You left so many things which you could do just because you were following Islam and you had that love for Allah and love for Muhammad and the fear of hell. Just imagine, just compare yourself with us. 18 years and 30 years. So we wasted the prime time. You are, to be honest, you are lucky that you understood, when you were 18, that I should not follow this waste of time religion.
I think so, yeah, because one of the things, just to add to your point, that Islam robs you of is time. Because I think this is one of the most harmful aspects of it. It teaches you to focus on this other life, this paradise, and it teaches you to fear this thing that will happen after death. But when you're doing that, then you are not living your life in the here and now. You are wasting your time. You're distracting yourself. And then if some unfortunate tragedy should happen in your life and you die, you pass away, whenever you happen to do so, this is time you will never have back. And this is one of the greatest tragedies.
Time never comes back.
No.
Okay, so let me just summarize what you said. तो भाई लोग ये जब ये वाला philosophical level क्रॉस करके जो कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ गॉड है इसको क्रॉस करके जब ये रसूलुल्लाह की जिंदगी पर आए तो उन्होंने देखा कि यार यहाँ पे तो औरतों का जो स्टेटस है वो अलग है. औरतों के लिए तो कुछ इज्जत नाम की चीज ही नहीं है इधर. हालांकि इनको घर पे इस तरीके से सिखाया नहीं गया था. और लेकिन जब इन्होंने असल इस्लाम देखा और उसको पढ़ा तो इनको नजर आया कि यहाँ तो भाई एक औरत की गवाही जो है वो मर्द के मुकाबले में आधी है और मर्द की जो है वो तो औरत से दुगनी है. इस तरीके से इनको नजर आया. उसके बाद फिर रसूलुल्लाह रसूलुल्लाह का कैरेक्टर देख रहे हैं तो वो तो एक बुढ़ापे की उम्र में वो एक 6 साल की बच्ची के साथ शादी कर रहे हैं और 9 साल में डिंगी कर रहे हैं, मैरिज कंज्यूमेट कर रहे हैं. जिसको ये कहा जा रहा है कि ये परफेक्ट एग्जाम्पल है, वो तो इनको एग्जाम्पल कैसे माना जाए? और ये कहते हैं कि कुछ मुसलमान जो बच्चियों से शादी करते हैं वो करते हैं इस्लाम की वजह से, लेकिन बहुत से ऐसे मुसलमान हैं जो अपनी बच्चियों की शादी नहीं कराएंगे इतनी कम उम्र में कोई बूढ़े के साथ। लेकिन इस्लाम जो है वक्त के हिसाब से लोग चेंज होते जाते हैं, इस्लाम तो चेंज नहीं होता है। तो इन्होंने देखा कि जिसको परफेक्ट एग्जाम्पल बनाया जा रहा है वो तो एक कबायली लोग है और वो लूट मार करके अपनी जिंदगी गुजर बसर कर रहे हैं। इससे ज्यादा आपको क्या नजर आ रहा है? जब इन्होंने रसूलुल्लाह की जिंदगी को देखा तो उसमें इनको कोई भी बेस्ट रोल मॉडल वाली बात नजर नहीं आई। तो जब ये 18 साल तक पहुंचे, 17 साल में ये वहां कनाडा गए और 18 साल पहुंचे तक इनका दिमाग इतना तेज काम किया इन एक साल में कि इनको समझ में आ गया कि भाई नहीं, अब बस, अब मुझसे और इस्लाम नहीं होगा। इन्होंने इस्लाम को छोड़ दिया क्योंकि देख रहे थे कि यार जिनके पास रिलीजन नहीं है, जैसे कि इन्होंने एथियस्ट लोगों की मिसाल दी कनाडा में, वो भी नॉर्मल जिंदगी गुजार रहे हैं, वो भी नॉर्मल जिंदगी गुजार रहे हैं। उनके रिलीजन के नहीं होने से वो कोई ऐसा बुरे लोग हैं या बुरे काम कर रहे हैं, ऐसा कुछ तो है ही नहीं। फिर इन्होंने एक और एक मिसाल दी कि यार इस्लाम में आउट ऑफ मैरिज अगर आप सेक्स कर देते हो तो उसके लिए इतनी बड़ी पनिशमेंट। तो पनिशमेंट जैसे कि आप लोगों को भी मालूम है कि अगर शादीशुदा नहीं है तो उसको 100 कोड़े पड़ेंगे। आप सोचो 100 कोड़े एक इंसान तो बर्दाश्त भी नहीं कर पाएगा, 100 कोड़े है। और अगर कोई शादीशुदा करता है आउट ऑफ मैरिज तो उसको पत्थर मार के स्टोनिंग कर दी जाएगी अडल्ट्री के ऊपर। तो ये कह रहे कि ये इतना बड़ा क्या पाप हो गया कि भाई आप ऐसी सजा दे रहे हो। तो ये सारी चीजें इनके जहन में घूमती जा रही थी और ये सोचते जा रहे थे और इनको चूंकि कोई जवाब नहीं मिला तो इन्होंने 18 साल में इस्लाम को इन्होंने टाटा बाय बाय कर दिया। लेकिन इनको बहुत सदमा लगा इस बात से। इनको ऐसा लगा कि यार मेरी जिंदगी जो है, ये जो हिप्नोटाइज मेरे को किया गया था, ये मेरे साथ जो है जुल्म हुआ है, ये मेरे साथ जो है वो धोखा हुआ है। तो ये सदमे में आ गए इस चीज को लेके। और बहुत से लोग, हमारे एडम साहब ने भी बताया है कई बार कि जब उन्होंने इस्लाम छोड़ा तो वो तो रोते थे कि यार जितना इस पे भरोसा किया ये तो मेरे साथ धोखेबाजी हो गई। इसी तरीके से इनके साथ भी मामला हुआ कि यार ये तो मेरे साथ धोखा हुआ है, ये अफीम जो चटाया गया था ये तो पूरा धोखेबाजी है। तो मैंने इनको कहा कि यार आप अपना सोच रहे हो, आप तो लकी है 18 साल में निकल गए, हमको तो 30 साल लग गए थे समझने के लिए कि भाई ये हमने अपनी जिंदगी बर्बाद कर दी है। तो फिर से आते हैं अलीम साहब के पास। यस मिस्टर अलीम, सो फाइनली at the age of 18 you left Islam, so what was there about after that?
Well, Sahil, I'll tell you how I felt after that.